all ready for our today's class? Okay. How are you all? Now we are in a new month. This year is going to end very soon. Am I right? Now we are in the month of November. Only one more month is remaining for the end of this year. Are you all feeling excited to see the new year? Okay. I hope you're all happy today. In this fresh new month, we should be happy. Okay. Now, let's come to our class. Every day we are learning a new vocabulary, isn't it? Word for the day. In this class, today you are going to learn a new word. Can you guess what is that word? Okay, I will tell you. The word today you are going to learn is hillbilly. Hillbilly. Say hillbilly. 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 What is meant by hillbilly? Hillbilly means old-fashioned person or a person who is from a countryside. People are from urban and rural area, right? Villagers or people who are coming from hillside or forest area, from woods. What is meant by woods? Woods means forest. People from forest or people from rural area like village. People who are from hillside or mountains. They will be called as hillbilly. Okay, if I am saying something to you and that idea looks like a very old-fashioned idea. For your annual day program, I am telling you an idea to perform a dance or a drama or a skit. But that idea is very boring. It's like old-fashioned poor idea. So that idea is a hillbilly idea. If a person who is uneducated, who is not studying in his school days properly, or people, some old grandparents or some people, poor people, they will not be able to study in schools, right? So, such people cannot get education properly. They will be called as uneducated person. So, such people who are not getting education properly, the people who are uneducated will be called as hillbilly or the old-fashioned people or people who are coming from countryside, from village, from mountains, forest, from rural area. They will be called as hillbilly. So, what is the new word we learned today? It is hillbilly. Is this word looks nice? Hillbilly? Okay. Pronounce this word, students. Hillbilly. Spell the word hillbilly. Hillbilly. Pronounce this word hillbilly. What is the meaning of this word? Old-fashioned person from countryside. What is meant by countryside? From village or uneducated person. If an idea is old-fashioned, then that idea is a hillbilly. Okay? Students, do you all have this literature reader book? This textbook with you? Do you have this textbook? I hope you all have this book, literature reader book. Take this book and take page number 6. Take page number 6. What is the title of the first story they have given? Humpty Dumpty. What is the title? Read it along with me. Humpty Dumpty. This story is taken from a book called through the looking glass. Okay, it was written by Lewis Carroll. Have you all taken this book, students? Now what you are going to do is, you are going to read this story. How many of you love to read stories? Very good. We all love to read stories. Am I right? Okay. Now what you are going to do? You are going to read this story. Have a dictionary with you. Do you all have dictionary? Okay, very good. So take your dictionary, take a pencil and also take this textbook literature reader book. Okay. Now you are going to read this text. Underline the uncommon words or the difficult words. While reading, you may feel difficult to read some words, right? Underline those words, find the meaning of those words and then understand the story. It's a very interesting story. I hope you all love this story. Okay. Are you all ready to read? Okay. After reading this story, what you are going to do is, you have to complete the exercises which are given in the page number 12. Students, listen to me carefully. Use your dictionary to find the meaning of difficult words. Read the text, understand the story and try to complete the textbook exercises which are given in page number 12. Okay. Will you all try to do this? Okay, ma'am. Shall we read the text now?
It's Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty was sitting with his legs crossed on the top of a high wall. Such a narrow one that Alice quite wondered how he could keep his balance. And as his eyes were steadily fixed in the opposite direction, and he didn't take the least notice of her, she thought he must be a stuffed figure after all. And how exactly like an egg he is, she said aloud, standing with her hands ready to catch him, for she was every moment expecting him to fall. It's very provoking, Humpty Dumpty said after a long silence, looking away from Alice as he spoke. To be called an egg. Very. I'm sorry. I meant you looked like an egg, sir. Alice gently explained. And some eggs are very pretty, you know, she added, hoping to turn her remark into a sort of a compliment. Some people, said Humpty Dumpty, looking away from her as usual, have no more sense than a baby. Alice didn't know what to say to this. It wasn't at all like a conversation, she thought, as he never said anything to her. In fact, his last remark was clearly addressed to a tree. So she stood and softly repeated to herself, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty in his place again. That last line is much too long for the poetry, she added, almost out loud, forgetting that Humpty Dumpty would hear her. Don't stand there chattering to yourself like that, Humpty Dumpty said, looking at her for the first time. but tell me your name and your business. My name is Alice, but it's a stupid enough name. Humpty Dumpty interrupted impatiently. What does it mean? Must a name mean something? Alice asked doubtfully. Of course it must, Humpty Dumpty said with a short laugh. My name means the shape I am. And a good handsome shape it is too. With a name like yours, you might be any shape, almost. Why do you sit out here all alone? Said Alice, not wishing to begin an argument. Why? Because there's nobody with me, cried Humpty Dumpty. Did you think I didn't know the answer to that? Ask another. Don't you think you would be safer down on the ground? Alice went on, not with any idea of making another riddle, but simply in her good-natured concern for the queer creature. That wall is so very narrow. What tremendously easy riddles you ask. Humpty Dumpty growled out. Of course I don't think so. Why, if ever I did fall off, which there is no chance of, but if I did fall, he went on, the king has promised me with his very own mouth to send all his horses and all his men. Alice interrupted rather unwisely. Now I declare that's too bad, Humpty Dumpty cried. You've been listening at doors and behind trees and down chimneys, or you couldn't have known it. I haven't indeed, Alice said very gently. It's in a book. Ah, well, they may write such things in a book. That's what you call a history of England, that is, Humpty Dumpty said in a calmer tone. Yes, all his horses and all his men, Humpty Dumpty went on. They'd pick me up again in a minute. They would. However, this conversation is going on a little too fast. Let's go back to the last remark but one. I'm afraid I can't quite remember it, Alice said very politely. In that case, we start fresh, said Humpty Dumpty. And it's my turn to choose a subject. So, here's a question for you. How old did you say you were? Alice made a short calculation and said, 7 years and 6 months. Wrong! Humpty Dumpty exclaimed triumphantly. You never said a word like it. I thought you meant, how old are you? Alice explained. If I'd meant that, I'd have said it, said Humpty Dumpty. Alice didn't want to begin another argument, so she said nothing.
Students, now all of you take your literature reader book and take page number 6. In your literature reader book, take page number 6. Okay, shall we read? Listen to me carefully. Humpty Dumpty. As Alice approached the wall, the egg perched on top of it got larger and more human. When she had come within a few yards of it, she saw that it had eyes and a nose and a mouth. And when she had come up closer, she saw clearly that it was Humpty Dumpty himself. He was sitting on the wall with his legs crossed, such a high and narrow one that Alice quite wondered how he could keep this balance. As he didn't take the least notice of her, she thought he must be a stuffed figure. How exactly like an egg he is, she said, standing with her hands ready to catch him, for she was every moment expecting him to fall. It's very provoking, Humpty Dumpty said, looking away from Alice as he spoke, to be called an egg. Very. I said you looked like an egg, sir, Alice gently explained. Some people, said Humpty Dumpty, have no more sense than a baby. Alice didn't know what to say to this. It wasn't at all like a conversation, she thought, as he never said anything to her. In fact, his last remark was evidently addressed to a tree. So she stood and softly repeated to herself, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty in his place again. That last line is much too long for the poetry, she added. Don't stand there chattering to yourself like that, Humpty Dumpty said, looking at her for the first time. Tell me your name and your business. My name is Alice, but it's a stupid enough name, Humpty Dumpty interrupted impatiently. What does it mean? Must a name mean something? Alice asked doubtfully. Of course it must, Humpty Dumpty said with a short laugh. My name is the shape I am, and a good, handsome shape it is too. With a name like yours, you might be any shape almost. Why do you sit out here all alone? Said Alice, not wishing to begin an argument. Why? Because there's nobody with me, cried Humpty Dumpty. Don't you think you'd be safer down on the ground? Alice went on. That wall is so very narrow. Of course I don't think so, growled Humpty Dumpty. Why, if ever I did fall off, which there's no chance of, but if I did, the king has promised me to send all his horses and all his men, Alice interrupted rather unwisely. Now I declare that's too bad, Humpty Dumpty cried, breaking into a sudden passion. You have been listening at doors and behind trees and drawn chimneys, or you couldn't have known it. I haven't indeed, Alice said very gently. It's in a book. Oh, well, they may write such things in a book, Humpty Dumpty said in a calmer tone. However, this conversation is going on a little too fast. Let's go back to the last remark. I'm afraid I cannot quite remember it, Alice said very politely. In that case, we start fresh, said Humpty Dumpty. It's your turn to choose a subject. Would you kindly tell me the meaning of the poem Jabberwocky? Said Alice. Let's hear it, said Humpty Dumpty. I can explain all the poems that were ever invented and a good many that haven't been invented just yet. This sounded very hopeful, so Alice repeated the first verse. "'Twas brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves and the mommy rats outgrab." "That's enough to begin with," Humpty Dumpty interrupted. "There are plenty of hard words there. Brillig means 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the time when you begin broiling things for dinner." "That will do very well," said Alice. "And what about slithy?" "Well, slithy means lithe and slimy. Lithe is the same as active. You see, there are two meanings packed up into one word." "I see it now," Alice remarked thoughtfully. "And what are toves?" "Well, toves are something like badgers. They're something like lizards, and they're something like corkscrews. They must be very curious creatures." "They are that," said Humpty Dumpty. "Also, they make their nests under sundials. Also, they live on cheese." "And what's the gyre or to gimble?" "To gyre is to go round and round like a gyroscope. To gimble is to make holes like a gimlet." "And the wave is the grass plot round a sundial, I suppose," said Alice, surprised at her own ingenuity. "Of course it is. It's called wave, you know, because it goes a long way before it and a long way behind it, and a long way beyond it on each side," Alice added. "Exactly so. Well, then Mimsy is flimsy and miserable, and a borogo is a thin, shabby looking bird with its feathers sticking out all round, something like a live mop." "Who's been repeating all that hard stuff to you?" "I read it in a book," replied Alice. "That's all," said Humpty Dumpty. "Goodbye." This was rather sudden, Alice thought. But after such a strong hint that she ought to be going, she felt that it would hardly be civil to say. So she held out her hand. "Goodbye till we meet again," she said as cheerfully as she could. Alice waited a minute to see if he would speak again, but as he didn't take further notice of her, she quietly walked away. But she couldn't help saying to herself as she went, "Of all the unsatisfactory people I ever met." She never finished the sentence, for at this moment a heavy crash shook the forest from end to end. "Oh dear!" sighed Alice. An extract from Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll.